Hi, dear students. Unit 1, Gifts of Youth. Communication. Making and responding to complaints appropriately. So, by the end of this lesson, you will be able to make and respond to complaints appropriately. For the time being, I ask you to listen to the conversation and answer the following question. How did the client feel about the hotel services? Did he feel unhappy, happy, or very happy? Listen and then decide.
Good morning. Can I help you?
I'd like to make a complaint about my holiday in Hawaii last week.
Oh dear. I'm really sorry. What exactly was the problem?
First of all, the bus taking us to the hotel broke down and we had to wait for over 2 hours in the sweltering heat before a replacement arrived. Then when we got to the hotel, we found our room hadn't been cleaned.
Oh, I am sorry to hear that. Did you complain to the hotel staff?
Of course, but we were told all the chambermaids were off duty anyway, that not all the people in the room above sounded like they were having all-night parties. Every night I demanded another room, but the receptionist told me the hotel was full.
I just don't know what to say, sir.
And to cap it all, the food in the hotel restaurant was awful. It was so bad we had to eat out all the time despite having paid for meals in the price of our holiday.
I do apologize. I'd like to offer you a 20% discount on the price of one of our autumn breaks as a gesture of goodwill.
A 20% discount? You must be joking. I want to see the manager.
Okay, what do you think now? Was the client unhappy, happy, or very happy about the hotel services? You are right. He was unhappy. Okay? Now please read the conversation and answer the question. The client went to the travel agent to make a request, make a complaint, make an apology. 5 minutes, please. Okay? So the client went to the travel agent to make a complaint. The justification? Look at line 2. I'd like to make a complaint about my holiday in Hawaii last week. Alright. Now, again, I ask you to read the conversation and list at least 3 problems the client complained about. 5 minutes. Okay? So the first problem the client complained about was the bus taking us to the hotel broke down and we had to wait for over 2 hours in the sweltering heat before a replacement arrived. The second problem he complained about was our room hadn't been cleaned. The third problem he complained about was I demanded another room, but the receptionist told me the hotel was full. The fourth problem the client complained about was that all the food in the hotel restaurant was awful. Okay, now please read again the conversation and complete the following table with expressions expressing making a complaint and responding to a complaint. 5 minutes. Okay? So the first expression the conversation contains is I'd like to make a complaint about. So this is an expression we use to make a complaint. The second expression, oh dear, I'm really sorry. We use this expression to respond to a complaint. The third expression the dialogue includes is, I'm sorry to say this, but. This is one more expression that people of English use, or people who speak English use to make complaints. The fourth expression, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. This is another expression we use to respond to a complaint or to respond positively to complaints. The fifth expression we have in the dialogue is, I just don't know what to say. So this is one more expression we use to respond to complaints. The last expression, I do apologize. Yes, as you see, this is an apologizing expression, but we use it in English to respond to complaints. So please, here we have yes, a set of expressions, and I want you to take 5 minutes to put them in the right column. We have, well, I'm afraid there is nothing we can do about it. Excuse me, there seems to be something wrong with. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I've got a bit of a problem here, you see? I'm sorry. I promise this will never happen again. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it. I can't tell you how sorry I am. Sorry to bother you, but, well, I'm afraid there isn't much we can do about it. Okay, it's correct. So the first expression, well, I'm afraid there is nothing we can do about it, we use it to reject complaints. Excuse me, there seems to be something wrong with. This expression, we use it to make a complaint. Oh, I'm sorry about that. This expression is used to accept complaints. I've got a bit of a problem here, you see. This is one more expression that we use to make a complaint. I'm sorry, I promise this will never happen again. This is an expression we use to accept complaint. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it. Once more, this is an expression that people who speak English use to accept complaints. I can't tell you how sorry I am. This is an extraordinary expression that people use to accept complaints. Sorry to bother you, but this is one more expression we use to make complaints. Well, I'm afraid there isn't much we can do about it. This is a negative response to complaints, which means that we use it to reject a complaint. So here, dear students, you see that here this table contains the most important expressions we use in English to make a complaint, to accept a complaint, or reject a complaint. So the first expression we have in column 1, I'd like to make a complaint about. I want you to pay attention to the difference between this expression and the second expression. So the first expression I'd like to make a complaint about, this is one sentence, which means you have to follow it by your complaint, which takes the nature of a noun. But the second expression I'd like to make a complaint, this is full sentence, which means you start a new sentence in which you state your complaint. The third expression, I'm sorry to say this, but we can also say it in another way and say, I'm sorry to have to say this, but. That's why you have to between brackets. Another good expression we can use to make complaints is, excuse me, there seems to be something wrong with. I've got a bit of a problem here, you see. This is one more expression that people use to make complaints. Sorry to bother you, but this is also a good expression that you might use while complaining to other people. Now, concerning the expressions we can use to accept complaints, There are many, but I chose here the most important ones like, oh, I'm really sorry, or oh, I'm sorry to hear that, or I just don't know what to say. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, I promise this will never happen again. Or I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it. Or you can say, I can tell you how sorry I am. This last expression shows how you are sorry, when you, of course, do something not okay. Concerning the third column, rejecting a complaint, you can see that we have only two expressions. Well, I'm afraid there is nothing we can do about it, and well, I'm afraid there isn't much we can do about it. In fact, they are exactly the same. Just the difference here, I'm afraid there is nothing, I'm afraid there isn't much. So they are exactly the same. Can't we have other expressions, for example, to reject complaints? Yes, there are a lot. But most of the time, people accept complaints. And when we want to reject, it depends most of the time on the situation. So let's move to practice. Exercise 1, complete the exchanges with expressions from the chart above. Situation 1 is between client and shop owner. The client saying, the digital camera that I bought from your shop yesterday isn't working. In situation 2, it's between John and James, in which John saying, you didn't bring me back my English copybook. And situation 3, it's between the client and waiter, in which the client complains about the fact that the pizza is very salty. In situation 4, it's between Laura and manager. Laura says, there is no hot water in the shower. So take 5 minutes, please, to do this activity. Okay, so let's correct and see just some suggestions. Concerning situation 1, the client might complain to the shop owner saying, sorry to bother you, but the digital camera that I bought from your shop yesterday isn't working. The shop owner could respond to the client's complaint saying, I'm afraid there is nothing I can do about it. Pay attention to this kind of response is negative, which means that the shop owner rejects the client's complaint. In situation 2, John could complain to James saying, I'm sorry to say this, but you didn't bring me back my English copybook. In response to John's complaint, James might say, oh dear, I'm really sorry. In situation 3, the client might complain to the waiter saying, I'm afraid I have a complaint. The pizza is very salty. The waiter could say in response, I can't tell you how sorry I am. I will bring you another one. In situation 4, Laura could complain to the manager saying, I've got a bit of a problem here. You see, there is no hot water in the shower. The manager of the hotel might respond to Laura's complaint saying, I'm terribly sorry about that. Okay, I'll see what I can do. Moving to the second exercise in the practice stage, again, here are 4 suggestions, 4 situations. In situation 1, your neighbor's son has broken your car window. Here, you have to complain to your neighbor, and your neighbor should accept your complaint. In situation 2, you lent your classmate a book, and he or she gave it back to you in a bad condition. You complain to your classmate, who should reject your complaint as the instruction says. In situation 3, you want to revise for a test, but your little sister is making noise. You complain to your mother, and your mother responds to your complaint. Of course, here the instruction says responds and doesn't say reject or accept, which means you might reject or accept. It's up to you. Situation 4, you had an appointment with a friend, but he arrived 2 hours late. In this situation, you complain to your friend, and your friend responds to your complaint again, either accepting or rejecting. Alright, let's correct. Let's see some suggestions. As far as situation 1 is concerned, you might complain to your neighbor whose son has broken your car window, saying, I am sorry to have to say this, but your son has broken my car window. Here, your neighbor must accept your complaint as the instruction says, and he might say, I'm so sorry about that. In situation 2, in which you lent your classmate a book and he or she gave it back to you in a bad condition, you could complain to your classmate saying, excuse me, there seems to be something wrong with my book. Your classmate might reject your complaint saying, well, I'm afraid there isn't much I can do about it. In situation 3, in which you want to revise for a test, but your little sister is making noise, you might complain to your mom saying, Mom, I have a complaint. Your daughter is disturbing me while I'm trying to revise for the test. Your mother responds to your complaint saying, oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sure she doesn't mean to. In situation 4, in which you had an appointment or rendezvous with a friend, but he arrived 2 hours late, you can complain to this friend saying, I'm sorry to have to say this, but you are 2 hours late. Your friend might respond to your complaint saying, I do apologize, dear friend. I was stuck in a traffic jam. So as you see, in situation 1, your neighbor must accept your complaint. In situation 2, your classmate must reject your complaint. But in situation 3 and 4, the mother and your friend are free either to accept or to reject your complaints. Why? Because the instruction says just respond to your complaint. Now moving to the production stage, I ask you to take 5 minutes to write a mini dialogue on one of the following situations. You make a complaint and respond to it. In situation 1, you lent your watch to your brother, but he hasn't given it back to you yet. In situation 2, you lent your classmate your dictionary, but he lost it. In situation 3, you ordered a tagine in a restaurant, but when you started eating it, you found an insect in the plate. In situation 4, you are staying at a hotel. The air conditioner in your room is not working. So as I said before, take your time to write a mini dialogue on just one of the following situations. Alright, so as a suggestion to situation 1, in which you lent your watch to your brother, but he hasn't given it back to you yet, you could say, I'm sorry to say this, but you haven't given me back my watch. Your brother might respond to your complaint in a positive way, saying, for example, "Oh, I'm really sorry. Honestly, I have forgotten to return it to you, dear brother." In situation 2, in which you lent your classmate your dictionary but he lost it, as a suggestion, you might complain to your classmate saying, "Sorry to bother you, but you lost my dictionary." Again, here, it's your classmate should respond to your complaint in a positive way. Why? Because he made a mistake. He lost your dictionary. So, as a suggestion, he or she might say, "I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean it." In situation 3, in which you ordered a tagine in a restaurant, when you started eating it, you found an insect in the plate. As a suggestion to this situation, you can complain to the waiter saying, "I've got a bit of a problem here. You see, there is an insect in the tagine plate." Here, the waiter must respond in a positive way to your complaint, because it's the reputation of the restaurant. He or she, yes, he might say, "I do apologize, sir. I'll bring you another one," meaning another tagine plate. Concerning the 4th situation, you are staying at a hotel, the air conditioner in your room is not working. So, as a suggestion to this situation, you might complain to the manager of the hotel saying, "I'd like to make a complaint. The air conditioner in my room is not working." Of course, again, it's a matter of reputation of the hotel. The manager should respond in a positive way and might say, "I'm so sorry for that. I promise to fix the problem right now." So as you see, dear students, you have to pay attention to the instructions. It's very important. Of course, when you are asked to make a complaint, you have a variety of expressions to choose from. Choose the one which suits the situation. But when we talk about the answer or the response to the complaint, you have to pay attention to the instruction. If the instruction says, accept the complaint, in this case, you have to accept the complaint, giving a positive response to the complaint. But if the situation says reject the complaint, in this case, you have to provide a negative expression to the complaint. Again, if the situation says nothing, just respond to the situation. In this case, you are free to either accept or reject the response. Thank you.